Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time, getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit freedomlovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. freedomlovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. We look at Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. Guess what? I am here right now exactly in Lake Havasu. And if you hear some burps, because I just finished eating. I am not alone, and I'm not having a date, okay? This is just a beautiful interview. But I am with a great guy that also is a listener of the show. And we are in front of, I can't say the name, I don't care, even if there are no sponsors. It's called Chipotle, Mexican Grill. So we had a nice little Chipotle burrito, no, chicken quesadilla. And now I have this gentleman that is from Havasu that I found out that he's a listener of the show. And I'm very excited, and I wanted to meet him in person. Of course, this is the hour about love, and we will talk about freedom, of course, but more important also about the opportunity to meet like-minded individuals. And I heard that this guy is also a single, so he's looking for the great other side. Now, first of all, let me go straight to him. Good morning, good afternoon, Dan. How are you?
Good afternoon. Look, I'm doing great.
Okay, and so your name is Daniel, I guess, right?
Yep, Daniel Matthew Evans.
All right, Daniel. So tell me a little bit, how did you find out about this show, Love, Guns, and Freedom?
It just interested me flipping around looking for something to listen to that isn't boring. And I'd already been, kind of listening to some music. I wanted to find out what was going on in the world. And so it landed on 1430, and here I am.
Okay, 1340 AM, that's pretty fun. So I'm very excited, and I have no idea what type of show I was doing that day, but I'm glad that you had the patience to put up with my accent and the rest of the madness. So listen, first of all, before we go into the part of love, every one of us has a different journey, a different background, and I think it's always unique and very interesting. You're an interesting guy, and tell me a little bit, I'll let you speak. Introduce yourself to the listeners.
Pretty typical American guy, I born in Riverside, California, 63. So I'm 53 years old. I lived most of my life in Southern California, but when I got too crowded and a little bit too political, I started to think it was time to get out and go see the rest of the world. But I ended up joining the Marine Corps and went through 4 years of that, and when I got out, I was an infantry platoon sergeant. So I'd learned some things, my parents had divorced, and I kind of wanted to learn to be a man, put a little bit more muscle on both my soul and my body. So I did that, and I don't have any regrets. Even though I didn't necessarily learn any skills, I learned a lot of things that you can't learn anywhere else. And it was sort of a tradition as well, because my family, all of them had been in the military. My grandpa, in fact, he was in World War I. Born in 1894, and he was an airplane mechanic in the 94th Air Squadron, which is what Eddie Rickenbacker was also in. Eddie Rickenbacker was World War I ace for America.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting stories. Yeah,
that was probably one of the first Air Force. The first airplanes really to be deployed in general for combat.
Oh yeah, definitely. And my grandpa, he was always interested in that kind of stuff, very mechanical, very hands-on. So him becoming an airplane mechanic was something that I could really identify with too. I spent a lot of time with him before he died in '83.
Wow.
And I really got close with him too, so that was pretty neat.
So now you live in Lake Havasu, correct?
Well, yes and no. I live in the area, but I've been working down here, and I'm trying to figure out, because I came from Wyoming, I'm trying to figure out where exactly I want to live.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, but let's say you're in Mohave County, in this part of...
Yeah,
okay.
And I'm thinking I might move down here. I like Lake Havasu City. It's so far it's kind of on the top of my list, but I haven't set anything in stone yet.
All right, so listen, now a little bit about you. Are you working now? What do you do? You have any hobby? What do you do exactly during your life?
Well, I spent probably the last 38 years, really the one thing I stuck with the whole time was a finish carpenter and cabinet maker and that kind of stuff. Whenever you do that, you end up going in remodeling kitchens and bathrooms. So I learned how to do tile work and plumbing and electrical and anything that was associated with it. I learned it. But it's been 38 years. So the last couple of years, I've been sort of training myself into getting into something more along the lines of my passion, and that's working with AR-15s. And I'm assembling AR-15s right now.
Very good, very good. That's very exciting, by the way. And I know you got your own rifles. Next time you want to show me, I think you talk about that, right?
Oh, yeah. Highly customized rifle. I dug in, tried to learn everything I could, and I decided I wanted to, build the best of the best of the best just to see how good it could be. And so I got a pretty nice AR-15.
Very good. What I would like to do next time, probably we can get together at the range. Maybe we can talk more in details. Of course, this is not a television show, it's a radio show. But we can explain, for whatever we can explain through the radio, about your AR, how it's made, and also some of your ideas. So excellent. This is pretty exciting, by the way. I'm glad that you were able to find the show. And as you know, the show, it's about exactly these basic things. We talk about guns, of course, and then we talk about freedom, and then we'll talk about love, like now we know. By the way, I know that you're single. Am I right or wrong? I don't want to assume.
Well, yeah, in the sense of separated for like 5 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So anyway, you're available. You're a guy, available guy. And I know that you also, I'm glad that you took the opportunity to join freedomlovers.us. That I guess you heard that on the radio, correct?
Oh, yeah. And I went to check out the website and saw that there were other associated things that you're doing. So I thought, hey, why not? He's doing pretty cool stuff with this. I'll check that stuff out, too. Yeah. And that's when I found out about your guns and your, the whole idea behind a freedom-based, like-minded, I guess you'd call it not necessarily a dating site, but a connection site. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I like to remind to the listeners. The idea is not just let's have a date. The idea is to find each other, because sometimes, you can find even just a friend. Honestly, today, I think a friend is more valuable than many other things, because they're so rare to find a person that you can relate, you can understand each other, you don't need sometimes to explain everything. And also, you start to know each other, help each other, because we are coming to a point that things are going to get really tough. And it's good to start to build a network of friends, of like-minded people. And that was the idea of freedomlovers.us. And of course, that would be also nice that from a friendship, maybe something more can happen. Can have also a relationship. Because even that is so difficult out there after I don't say the truth, because the truth is always a relative word. There is always something more to know the day after. But let's say when you start to know things that the average person doesn't want to know, it's difficult to come back and just deal with the people that refuse to even talk about these things. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head. People tend to, they don't gravitate toward what they love. They gravitate what they're obligated for. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten really away from obligatory thinking, so to speak. And I'm now at the point in my life where I'm saying, look, I'm gonna do what I love doing. I'm gonna be where I love to be, and I'm gonna probably live where I want to live and love it. Yeah, I know there's changes in that kind of stuff, but I'm learning as I try it all out, and it hasn't turned me down the wrong direction yet. And I've really been changing that way for the last probably good 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay. So listen, now let's talk about, for example, since we're talking about love, and you join, of course, freedomlovers.us. And by the way, I would like to remind you, listeners, freedomlovers.us, www.freedomlovers.us. It's 100% free. And this is not like the government when they say, oh, it's free, and somebody else, is forced with a gun pointed at their face to pay for it. No, this is an act of love. It's free because thanks to my job and my music and my effort, I'm able to put it free for you guys. And of course, there is always a way to support it out there in case you like it. in case you like it. Nobody's forcing you. By the way, no even credit card ask. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, no, 100% right.
So it's really free, okay? This is the proof. So I want you to use it, though. So enjoy it. Go to freedomlovers.us, open a profile, and also you can post the messages. There are message boards, upload videos, create a blog. I mean, it's not just blasting your photo out there and looking for chicks. I mean, you can also communicate. So anyway, my point is this. Since we're talking about love, the idea would be also to start to know who is your ideal person, woman in this case, that you dream that maybe one day you may be able to share your passions, your hobbies, your interests, your politics, whatever you have. So what is your ideal woman? If I am right now here like a little magician and then I can, create it out of nothing.
Well, I think probably first and foremost, somebody that is able to love without judgment, because we spend a lot of time pointing our fingers, trying to figure out, why people are doing what they're doing, when if we just be ourselves and not worry about what anybody else is doing, stay away from the judgment, it gives room for the love to be greater. I really think that you can't separate love and freedom. I really truly believe that's two sides of the same coin. Especially when it comes to allowing people to be themselves. I don't know, I'm going to take a guess here that in a lot of parts of my life, as I was growing up, I felt like I was answering to other people. And not that it's necessarily bad to answer to, say, your parents and all that, but I never really learned to be myself. And it took me a long time to figure out, really, how can you even be yourself? And my best answer up to this point is just learn to love people, and you'll end up loving yourself, and you'll find who you are.
Oh, interesting. This is very good. So, that's a good start. I mean, seriously, ladies out there, if you're looking for a guy who is, first of all, I'm not gay, okay? Don't get me wrong. But he's a good-looking guy, okay? Compared to many, I mean, you're no more a child, okay? You're over 20s, okay? Exactly, you're 53, okay? And I tell you, one thing really sometimes shocks me out in this country, but not just America. Now it's almost all civilized countries, because I believe really of the lifestyle, of the diet, and also the people that when they have too much, you become lazy, and the system brainwash you to almost ignore your body. I mean, there are people of your age that they're already going walking, not even walk anymore. They go on the wheelchair at Walmart. It's very sad,
Yeah, I feel bad for them.
So, you're in great shape. I don't know if you work out, but you look like you're taking care of yourself. And for sure you don't look your age. So, ladies, listen to me. You gotta really go now to lovegunsfreedom.com on today's show, on the section of love, and I will post his photo, okay? And it will go directly to his link of Facebook, okay? So you can check it out, number one. But more important, it's not just another pretty face. This guy, I think, he has a lot of good interior side. I think something that is very important. The last words he just said makes you think a lot. So that's a great start. Now, tell me about a little bit, let's say if you find that this potential other side, what would you like to find in her that also physical? I mean, is there any type of physical things that you would like to have? I want to be honest and straight. I mean, we are still bodies. We are not completely spirits. So everybody has their personal preferences. What are your preferences?
Well, definitely, I believe the same thing. We got to be able to be attracted to each other, and there's no reason to think that obligatory thinking and say, oh, well, I'm not attracted to her, but I owe her to be with her, and that's like, okay, so how long is that going to last? I'd rather be with someone that knows who they are, and they got to be attracted to me just like I'm attracted to them. What that might look like, I suppose. I'm not real tall and big. I'm about 5'8", and probably someone that size, that tall or smaller. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty active, not like crazy active. So someone that likes to go out and have some adventure, do some things. I like things like water sports. I've done scuba diving and spent a lot of time at the beach when I was a kid, and afterward here and there. I love hiking and biking, and last summer I went up to Portland area and spent a couple months of the summer up there. Did a lot of hiking. We went to a place called the Punch Bowl off of Eagle Creek, and I noticed that there's waterfalls, and there's a guy jumping off of the waterfall, probably around 20, 25, 30 feet, somewhere around there. And so I swam over and I checked it out. I dove under the falls to see how deep it was. And I couldn't get to the bottom. I mean, I'm probably pretty sure it's at least 25 feet deep or so. So after I checked it out, I went up there, and then I found out there's another higher one. And
wow.
I went up to the higher one, which later on I found out was 85 feet.
Oh, my God.
And I don't know, I just got that thing in me. It's like, hey, you only live once. Poosh, there I went.
Also, you only die once. All right, listen, that's exciting. Ladies, if you like outdoors activities, and of course you're not a couch potato, it's a great potential here. By the way, you're not just an active guy. You're kind of, I don't want to call it like a philosopher or at least intellectual, but there's nothing wrong with that. But also you write books. At least you already have an ebook out there on Kindle. Tell me a little bit about your book.
Yeah, it's... In 2012, I finished it up and published it. It's called The Land of Milk and Honey by Daniel Matthew Evans. So if you do a search, you'll bring that up. And I think it's, I want to say I made it the price $7.77. Because 7 in the Bible is complete. And there was something about completing that whole thing that helped my whole mentality, my life, my focus, everything. And I don't look at... I'm not religious. I don't tend to stick myself in the same box. I try to think outside the box. And I feel like God's given me the permission to go have fun with it. So I went through the Bible with a totally different mindset, and I got a whole different set of thoughts out of it, and it was really cool. Wow. Yeah, I feel like that at that point, rather than the previous years of my life where I was trying to figure all that out and it was all chaotic and confusion, I felt like when it says the truth will set you free, I felt like I was truly free at that point. And since then, I feel like I've really grown quite a bit, and it's been a really good journey, especially the last couple years. I'm really excited about things from here too.
That's very exciting. I tell you, by the way, I like to read books, and I think book also is an opportunity for you ladies or anybody out there who wants to meet Dan to know a little bit about him. I mean, that's kind of exciting. Now, talking about Bible and religion, in your ideal woman, what would be, sometimes people say, I don't care what type of religion, but at the end of the day, I think it makes a difference, because sometimes if you have, maybe not for everybody, but sometimes, you got to do things together. And if you believe that there is an afterlife, and somebody, let's say, you fall in love with an atheist, for example, and I'm not going to judge anybody. If somebody is an atheist. But then if you feel like you want to have this special relationship, maybe you say, wait a second, I'm not going to be with you the rest of eternity. So are you open to have, no matter what type of belief, or you would like to have some sort of belief that they're close to your beliefs when it comes down to a serious relationship?
Well, I wouldn't want to put a label on it, but when you talk about it being the same basic beliefs, yeah, I'm all for that. Someone could be of no religion or of some other religion, as long as they have a basic understanding that God's not sitting here, putting his thumb down on us and judging us all the time, that we're free to do what we want, and he's going to love us like we're children anyway, so he's not going to kick us around for making some mistakes. And I think that's why we're here anyway, is to learn. And I think the thing that we're going to learn the most is love. That's the one most important thing. And if we get that right, somebody that I would look at would be open to the idea that they could actually be here just to learn love. And that's the biggest thing they could ever do with their lives. Other than that, there's a lot to discuss and figure out.
Yeah, of course, also other people may say, and I believe that also we're here with free choice. That means we are free to choose to do the right thing and to do also the wrong thing, Yeah. And for some people that they may say, wait a second, if you are a Christian, or other people may say other religions, but in this case I'm Christian, I believe in Christ, I would say, I have this free choice, and I can still decide whether if I'm going to follow the path of Christ or I'm just going to go whatever, and that's fine. I can do that, but then I will pay the consequences. I mean, for example, I had a case a few weeks ago, a lady who is a Christian lady, okay? And she was saying very straightforward, I want somebody that must be at least having the same type of mindset when it comes down to Christianity. Because let's say, for example, now you find a lady very nice lady that she believes that pretty much in everything you believe, but she say, you know what, I do not believe in God. Sorry, I'm an atheist. Okay, that's what she say I'm talking about. And you know, in your way, I mean, you say out of the box, but you believe in God, for what I understand. And one day, if you believe in God and she doesn't believe in that, technically, if she does not accept Christ, she's not going to be able to join heaven. That's the way I learned. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to say, I know that only through Christ you can go to heaven, right? According to what I remember I studied. So, are you going to be okay with that?
In the sense of spending the rest of my life with somebody, I would be someone that had to be more like-minded, and it's not like a forceful thing. It's just an agreement.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't consider myself. In fact, I don't consider anybody on the face of the planet to be greater or lesser than anybody else. We're, in God's eyes, we're all extremely important. Enough so that, out of love, He'd send His Son to demonstrate the very thing that He wants us to understand, that it's not about punishment and judgment. It's about love.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, we are not trying to force anybody. The idea, is exactly to say, we want to share this life together. I'm not trying to judge others, but at the same time, we freely decide to stay together. And sometimes there are things, maybe as much as we love each other, sometimes, there is other things that in the future may become part of, like, obstacles, But,
I agree.
Just thinking. But anyway, listen.
I guess my thought is, let it happen, don't push it.
Exactly. I think sometimes the natural things that will happen, and sometimes, as I said, people can learn. The idea is we are here in a journey, and sometimes I know a lot of people that they had different beliefs, and they change because they wanted to learn, not because nobody was forcing them. It's just about having the right time and the right person sometime. Now, question of politics, because sometimes, in the show we talk about politics, and politics is not an abstract concept, but this concept means, politics for me means, and also for many of my listeners, how can we be free to live our life, what type of food we can eat, how much money we're going to retain from our labor, and of course, everything, even what they're going to try to force us in our bodies. I mean, now politics and politicians, they are forcing human beings to be inoculated with vaccines. I mean, think about in California, what they just passed. So what is your political view, or if you want to identify you politically for somebody who doesn't know you, how do you identify yourself?
Well, if I was going to go to the far end of what I really believe, I believe everybody should be free. And when I say free, I'm talking actually not supervised, not told what and when to do. Because I really believe that we can trust that people are learning, and they're going to end up making better decisions as they learn. And ultimately, I think we can trust that their love's going to guide them the best. And you don't have to point your finger or put your thumb over somebody and force them into anything. I think the less we stand over people and tell them what to do and how to do it, the better things are going to be. If we would just let go and trust love, we'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, and the basic rule, I always say, if we have one basic rule that we all can pretty much comply, that means that we can do whatever we want until we infringe on other people's rights. So let's say that would be the basic rule, that I think the world would be a better place, seriously, because it's a general universal law, okay? What you want to do it, that's fine. But are you damaging somebody else? Are you infringing somebody else's right? And then where you stop.
And I thought through this a little bit too, the last few years especially, that love doesn't judge, but it does protect. So if someone's being hurt, you jump in there. Yeah. You don't let them get hurt. And when someone is becoming an aggressor, what they're basically doing, they're believing a lie about themselves, about anybody else. And if they're willing to hurt somebody else, jump in there in a heartbeat. Don't even hesitate to whatever it takes to stop the harm. I'm all for it. And I even think, in a sense, some of the things the United States has done in the past, while it's been clouded by, politics in some ways, there's been a hint of, we're doing this out of love. We're not doing this out of hatred or aggression. If we were always doing that, we would have been the ones attacking everybody else. Well, there are some cases where, the lines are fuzzy, but I think for the most part, We have in the past gone to our friends and been willing to stop aggressors from getting deep inside their territory and taking over. It's important, what you'll do with your friends, there's no question what you'll do with yourself. So we were sending a message at the same time to the rest of the world that says, we're not going to put up with this. It's bullshit.
Okay, I had to edit here a little bit, but that's okay. Anyway, listen, that's interesting. After all, you are, of course, your oath never expires. You were a Marine, now you are retired, but you still have the oath that also you believe. And also, I tell you, it's also coming to a point, tell me if I'm wrong, that unfortunately, our freedoms that supposedly the last, let's say at least 15 years, okay? I want to know your opinion. We been told that we had to go overseas to defend our freedom, or at least to spread freedom. Or they say democracy, by the way, it's an insult to everybody.
Yeah,
okay, but the point is, meanwhile, I'm sure you're familiar, the last 15 years we had so many attacks on our freedom, from the Patriot Act to the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, that pretty much now the executive powers, the White House itself, the president can declare any one of us a potential suspected domestic terrorist and disappear without due process. So there are so many other cases that look what's happening. The Constitution is being completely, let's say, trashed. Okay. So meanwhile, they tell us that we have to do this so they can defend our freedom. Don't you think there is also at least the last 30 years, let's say 15, let's stick with the last 15 years, have been a plan to use foreign conflicts to completely put us in a state of fear, and more important, also emergency, and pass legislations that they are no more motivated by, first of all, they are unconstitutional, but more important, they are part of a bigger plan to completely enslave Americans and destroy the basic foundation that we used to have.
I'm going to take sort of a step backwards about what we talked about earlier, that love and freedom can't be separated. So if you see a government, any government or any leadership acting and calling something freedom, but there's no love in it, that's not freedom anymore. They're lying to you. Or if you see that they're talking about love, man, there's no freedom in it, they're lying to you. One can't be separated from the other, to me. And that's kind of my conclusion over the last few years, that I can look around and see all these occurrences and events worldwide, and rather than look at the details, I can see that they're really pulling the wool over people's eyes for self-gain of some kind, and it doesn't matter what. At that point, I disengage from that kind of leadership, and I would rather fight it than support it. So
now, question. I know maybe it's too personal, but I like to ask. At least people sometimes, they're so passionate about these topics now, about the elections. And for some ladies, I tell you, I met some ladies on Facebook. They were friends. If you say something bad about their guy, it's over. Okay, I mean, they don't want to talk to you anymore. Who are you going to vote for these next presidential elections, if you can tell us?
Well, in the nutshell, Trump. He's the choice, and I'm not saying I agree with everything he does and says, but I actually do think he's acting more out of love than a lot of the candidates from the past, probably back all the way to, I'd say, Reagan, because he was my president when I was in the Marine Corps. He was my commander-in-chief, and I had a lot of confidence being a Marine under President Reagan's, and I could see, his heart was into doing what he was doing. Not perfect, nobody is. We're never going to be perfect, but as long as we're acting out of love, I think we're going to move forward in the right general direction. We might stumble once in a while, but I don't think it's a big issue. And I do think Trump's got more heart than people give him credit for. I know he steps on his own tongue sometimes, but that's just his personality, not so much his character.
All right, very good. Listen, just to let you know, if you're wondering what's going on here, we're talking about all these personal things. Yes, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM. And also, of course, you can listen through the website, www.lovegunsfreedom.com. And we're talking about the hour of love. And this is also a great service. And I say modestly, humbly, it's great because I created it. It's the first free dating on the air service for freedom-loving people. Yes, if you are a person who would like to meet like-minded people, and let's say you don't want to meet singles, you want to just have friends, maybe a network of friends the friends that maybe you want to go shoot together, or maybe you want to just get together at the bar or at the coffee place and talk about politics, whatever. This is not just for singles that they'll try to hook up for the night, okay? It's about to look for each other, find a nice little club. Sometimes, less is better. I believe in quality more than quantity. It's better to have maybe two good friends that you can relate, and you can go out and talk about things that you like to talk together, than just be surrounded and be alone in a bar by hundreds of people that they're all completely from another planet. So that's the idea. So if you want to be on the show, all you have to do, you go to lovegunsfreedom.com, you contact me, there is the email, say, look, I would like to be on the show. Okay, I don't care which party you are, I don't care what your religious beliefs, all I care that you have one thing though, you believe in love, you believe in freedom and respecting each other. Okay, so that's simple as that, all right? And today, of course, I have this gentleman with me right now, and as I said, we are recording the show exactly in Lake Havasu, in front of a restaurant. His name is Dan, and originally from California. He is a U.S. Marine veteran, has a lot of great interests, a lot of great activities. He's into guns, he is into love, and I think he has a great brain, and also he wrote a book that I would like to invite you to go there, check it out. And I also heard that you have a new book that you were coming out with, right?
Yeah, working on a new one. And here's the funny part. A couple weeks ago, before I listened to your show, I had a title popped in my head about my new book, and it was Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Excellent. I wish you could use it. Seriously, I would love that.
I'm changing it. Well, because there was a couple of different names. And the one that I'm probably going to go with is called Crete. And the reason it's Crete is because it's really kind of a story about the world's largest dam being built, and the concrete camp where the men stayed that were starting to work on this dam years back. The sign had worn down, and all that was left was Crete, and it stuck.
Okay.
So here's these guys, and they're working with concrete, and it's all that's around them. They're in a canyon. They're busting their tails, and they're working in the heat. So life was hard, And that's part of my parallel to my life. For the longest time, I really thought, wow, what a struggle, day to day, day after day, no matter what. It's just a struggle. And as long as I had that mentality, I made it. Because I really found out that I believe we create our own reality. So it may not happen instantly. Like, you just can't instantly think you're well off and not struggling, and it happens. No, but if you change your mentality and start thinking that way, over time it will create a new reality. So the idea behind the book is that after years of working down in the concrete camp, I left to go see what the world was like, and it took me a few years, but I started. From the people that I'd met and things that I'd done, I'd learned that I had the wrong mindset, and I started learning the mindset of someone that was created out of love, for love, and to love. And when I got back, I came back to Crete just to see what it was like. The place had completely changed. It was a really awesome place. A lot of liveliness going on. The dam had been finished, and the entire place was almost like a jumbo-sized amusement park, humongous. Wow. And they even took the concrete pit that they had dug, and it really became the world's largest pool, and there's just everything you can imagine. There's a huge shooting camp, wow, where families can go and shoot and have fun.
What is that place?
Well, that's in my mind.
Oh, your mind. Okay, I said, wow, that's like it's your book. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Listen, for today we got enough for this segment, but I was very excited, and I'm very excited to have met you, and I want to thank you, and also for listening to the show. And out there, as I said, this is a great opportunity. I wish, 20 years ago, when I came to America, I had a chance to meet freedom-loving people like this on the air. So use it. And by the way, I want to tell you one thing, guys. This show is an act of love. As you know, for me, it's not exactly my job, because I have many other things I do for a living, but it was like an opportunity was given to me a couple of years ago. And it's a struggle too, because I tell you, I have so many things I'm doing during my life, and I don't have a bunch of slaves. I do everything by myself, and I like it like that, okay? But at the same time, I want to commit always to give you the best I can. It takes energy, it takes time. If you want to support the show, you know how to do it. This is not like you're forced to buy anything, I don't even really like corporate sponsors, because sometimes they want to come, they're welcome. But I'm not going to compromise our freedom of speech here just because somebody say, hey, you cannot talk about this, you cannot talk about that. No, we talk about whatever we want, okay? That's why I need your help. If you want to help, the best way you can do it, you go to www.zanna.us. This is the simplest way, the most affordable way, just 99 cents. You don't even need to buy me a coffee, because coffee costs more money, you know that, a couple bucks at least for a good one. And if you cannot afford right now, let's say you cannot buy the Zanna coffee, that's fine. But with 99 cents on my site at zanna.us, you can download any of my songs. So you get a song for $1, and in this way, you even just with that, you support the show. And we can keep going with the freedomlovers.us and this beautiful hour about love that I really hope can unite people from around the world. Because I tell you, you know the beautiful thing then, I had people that they're listening to this show, I had no idea, from Scotland, from Germany, from Italy, from even from New Zealand.
Oh, that's right, you're on the internet, aren't you?
Yeah, and I tell you, normally people say, okay, you are from Mohave County or whatever, the broadcast is from Needles, but I am in Mohave County, Arizona, and I try to talk about things that are not just local. Even when we talk about local things, there are things that somehow connect to each other. And I realized I didn't know we have listeners now from everywhere. And I tell you, I would be fun maybe one day you tell me, look, by the way, I found this great lady that, I don't know, she's in New York, or maybe she's in New Zealand, you know. And
or maybe right here in Mohave County.
That would be even better, closer. Listen, okay, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. We're ready to wrap it up. Final part of the hour. I got some exciting news before we close. Don't go away.
It is that time again. 1776, the organic coffee to brew a revolution. Brought to you by Zanna Coffee. 1776 is the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans blend from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Get 1776 at www.zannacoffee.com. www.zannacoffee.com. Don't be cheap. Life is too short. 1776.